I just made 2 whole videos just to find out my microphone was broken. Good. I'm glad. I didn't want those videos anyways. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be telling you about the time that we were chased by a crazy person on prom night. So this prom was a few years ago, and I was a junior, and my date to prom was Nico. And I don't know if you guys know this, but he is a year older than me, so I believe I was a junior and he was a senior. So that night we had about 8 couples total, including myself and Nico, who were all in our group that, you know, we took pictures with and all that fun stuff. And I do want to apologize for my crazy hair and my crazy dress. I swear that I looked a lot better in my senior photos. What do you guys think? Yeah. So anyways, we did the whole picture thing. We did the whole weird prom pose. We did kind of eating in our dresses and stuff, and it was actually a fun time. Now the actual place where prom was held, the event plaza type thing, was about 30 minutes away from where any of us lived, or from our actual school. We had taken pictures at Nico's house, and again, about 30-minute drive. So we all decided to carpool together in Nico's mom's minivan. I, of course, was the driver because Nico, I don't know if he had gotten his license yet, or maybe he had just gotten it. I think he had just turned, I think he was already 18, so he was still fresh with his license. So I think she just trusted me more because I had had my license a little bit longer. So maybe I was 17, I'm not exactly sure, 16, 17, around there. And I'm driving all of these kids to prom, and we get there, and it's the typical prom thing, you know, you dance, you have a good time, you talk with your friends, you take a lot of pictures, you get caught in the background of someone else's picture making out. Yeah. And it was a really good time. I really enjoyed myself. Except for I did have a pin poking into my side, and that really hurt, and I had to find a band-aid, and it made a red mark, and it was just really uncomfortable. So definitely always bring band-aids with you to prom just in case. But anyways, the real story didn't happen at prom, what happened after prom. So prom ended at about 11 o'clock, and as we were all filing out, we all piled into the minivan, and again, I was driving home. I would say it was about 5 minutes away from the prom plaza, or event building, whatever, and we were going down this little town. Now in the suburbs of Chicago, when I say town, I mean a 4-lane road, 2 and 2, and then it has a mile strip of these buildings. So it's not a really big town, it's kind of sparse residents, and then just a mile strip of bars and restaurants and little shops and stuff like that. So as we're going down this little strip, all the windows are down, and the boys are yelling out the window prom gate 214, blah, all sorts of different stuff, and they're just hooting and hollering at people and having a good time. And so Nico specifically was prom gate 2K14, and yelled it at one gentleman. And this gentleman was about to get into his car, so I'd say he had the car door open and turned and looked, and Nico's prom 2K14, and the guy's and he started getting mad, and he started yelling back at the kid hey, I don't remember exactly what he said, and Nico, being the weirdo he was, just starts yelling back at him. And not yelling saying any words or even saying prom K214, but just literally back at this guy who was yelling obscenities at us for screaming out the window. So that really made this person angry, but none of the other kids in the car had realized it at the time. But I, of course, was watching it because I wanted to see what happened, because I'm paranoid all the time. And I noticed that this guy jumps in his car really quick, backs out, and is starting to follow us. And they're all just laughing and having a good time and whatever, and then he starts getting really close. Then that's about, I would say, 5 to 10 minutes after the original incident, so we're probably about 20 minutes away, so we only had, let's say, about 10-15 minutes to get back to the house. And we were going back to Nico's house to all regroup, get changed and stuff, and go out. And I noticed that he's speeding up really close to the car and then backing away really quickly, and then speeding up really close to the car and getting really, really close. And that, of course, made me nervous because A, this is not my car. B, I had a lot of people in the car. I didn't really want to be responsible for them all. And so of course I'm like, hey guys, that's the dude that you yelled at. He's been tailing us. He's getting really close, making me a little nervous. And so at that point, he had been following us for quite some time. Like I said, about 10 minutes, which is long when you're being followed. It's not exactly a short amount of time. And so the girl calls 911 and is like, hey, this guy's following us. We're on our way home from prom, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, asking us where we are, where we're going, what's happening, did something provoke this guy? And, the girl's telling him on the phone. And the road starts to go down to just 2 lanes, so just the 1x1. And we're going into what's kind of like this road in between 2 cornfields. I wouldn't say it was in the middle of nowhere, just because there was like residential areas beforehand and like a little bit of the town, and like once you get out of the cornfields in the suburbs of Chicago, there's a lot of stuff like that where you'll just drive like through a little bit of forest or through like a little bit of cornfield before you get back to another town. I would say it's like sometimes a mile, sometimes not even a mile, maybe like a few acres or something to that extent. And so as we're driving, this guy is getting really close, and I notice that he's trying to pass us. And so once he gets over into the other lane, like he's gonna pass us, because there's no cars around, of course, because why would there be? I try and speed up a little bit. But good for me, I have a minivan, and minivans don't do very much, especially when it's packed full of teenage people. Can't really go very far. And so this guy in his little compact car zooms past us and gets in front of us. And this makes me nervous, because what I thought would happen is exactly what happened. This guy just completely slammed on his brakes. Then I slammed on my brakes and skidded to a halt in this little minivan with all these kiddos in the back, and she's still on the phone with 911. And this guy gets out of the car, comes around like he's going to the passenger side of his car, and then starts walking towards ours. And of course I'm like, hell no. That's not happening. I've seen movies where people pull crowbars out of their car and come and beat up people in the middle of cornfields, and I'm not having it today. So I whip that puppy into reverse and I try to drive around him, and he sprints back over in front of the car in front of it, so I have to stop again, and I can't get around this guy. And of course I'm like honking and stuff, and the boys roll down the window and they start yelling at this dude, and this dude comes over and starts yelling at us like, you fucking kids, like what the fuck do you think you're doing, blah, all sorts of different stuff. And I'm just like pissed at this point, because this is not my car, don't want to get in trouble. We're all pretty late now. By the time this whole shebang happened, it was probably like 11:45, almost midnight or something to that extent. And so of course I'm like, stop, like you can't do this, we're minors, we're underage, like you're harassing a minor, you're trying to run into the car of a minor, all this stuff. And just screaming at him, and then eventually he comes over to the passenger side where Nico is, because Nico's still screaming at him, and I'm able to just like zip right out of there. And so, what do you think this guy does? Doot, 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 right back around into the car into his driver's side. And then he starts following us again. So he's following us for additional 10 minutes. The girl in the back is still talking to the 911 operator on the phone, and they say that they're going to send someone out as soon as we're able to tell where we were, because as 16-year-olds, you don't really have the best sense of direction, and we weren't necessarily really close to the house. This all happened in a span of a few minutes, so it wasn't like they really had a lot of time to like track the call or something like that. So we're driving and we end up going to my neighborhood because it's closer than Nico's. And I get my dad on the phone and I'm like, Dad, there's this guy following us. I don't know what's going on. He got out of the car. He's been screaming at us. He tried to run into the car. Can you please come out and like meet us at the driveway in case he follows us into the neighborhood? So my dad, being the type of guy he is, brought down his shotgun with him to the end of the driveway, because keep in mind, he was napping. This was about 11:40, 12 o'clock at night, something to that extent. I'm really bad with time, in case you haven't noticed. So I'm pulling in, and I see my dad at the end of the driveway with his shotgun in his boxers, because my driveway was very close to the entrance of the neighborhood. And sure enough, this guy just zooms right past us. So we pull into the neighborhood and then pull into my driveway and explained everything that happened, and that's when my friends got to see my dad in his underwear holding a shotgun. But yeah, so that's what happened to me on prom night. Got chased by a psychopath and stopped in front of us and tried to crash into our car and screamed at us. Long story short, we told the lady on the phone that we were home and we didn't need the officer to come anymore, and so she told us that we could just make like a report online or something about the incident and write down like the type of the car, what happened, where we were, and all that sort of thing. And for the rest of the night we kind of just laughed it off, and we ended up going back to Nico's house, getting changed, and going to a few parties and stuff, and told the story. It was really crazy, but yeah, it was really scary. And so, cool. Thanks so much for watching my video, guys. I really appreciate it. If you have any comments or suggestions, or you think there's anything that you would want me to talk about, or any sort of suggestions, please definitely feel free to comment down below. And please like and subscribe my channel. I'm trying to post every week, but it's really hard because I have a full-time job and I'm a full-time student, so yeah. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your night.